Hello and welcome back to the Lamenters. The group has had a most epic confrontation as they cleared out the catacombs below the church and now find themselves in a bit of a quandary. You guys had discovered some interesting information, a sort of prophecy that was inscribed on a scroll that you discovered after defeating the White, which read, when the 9 points are brought together, the summoning shall be complete. Then the dead shall rise once more, flesh of living eat. And this seemed to indicate a couple things to you. You also had the problem of your recently deceased friend Igar returning to an animated form. And as a zombie, seemed intent on eating you. So you guys tied him up. You cleared out everything. You take his weapons and his chain armor, and you effectively decided, right, that you wanted to leave him in the church in that storeroom and board everything up. You do all that. Many of you are wounded, so you make your way back to town. And when you get into town, you get to the inn, and you guys are there. You're able to get some rest. Now, we have decided at this juncture that this would be a good time for downtime since you guys leveled up. So for every day of full rest, you are able to regain, according to the book of instructional helpfulness of Lamentations of the Flame Princess, which I legally own, you are able to gain 1d3 hit points per day of full rest. Okay, so considering your new maximum hit points from gaining a level, how many days do you guys need to rest to be back to full? 2. And what about Freya?
I need a lot of rest.
Okay, so
You're muted.
Freya, how many days does Freya need to?
Yeah, that's about for D3 rolls. It's going to be, I'm down 15 points, so there's going to be a lot of, like 5 days, 7 days.
Okay, I'm going to say, let's say an average. All right, so let's say it's going to be 7 days. So in the course of the 7 days, many of you are resting. You have actually found that the people in the castle, in Lee Castle, that your contacts there are willing to help you, and actually Magister Jones sends one of his mediciners who comes and cleans your wounds and bandages them and sews up some of your more dangerous injuries. So you will be fully healed in 7 days. Okay. So let's consider that a lot of that is rest, but you have several days of time still for kind of choice downtime activity.
Mm-hmm.
Gizmo, you had mentioned wanting to do some research for spells. And as you have gained a level, you are now able to roll for some new spells. Do you want to go ahead and do that now?
Mute.
Muted.
Am I able to roll for new? I thought I have to research everything.
Oh, are you researching brand new spells, or are you just are you studying the spells that you have gathered?
Oh, did I get any? I just have those starting ones. So,
Okay.
if I remember.
So I'm going to say that with your access to the Magister's library and your own knowledge, you're able to research some spells. So you can do that. Now, by the book, spells that are on the standard spell list, the process costs 25 silver pieces per day.
Yeah, and it's for the 6 days, if I
Yes.
per level.
Yes.
Okay, so I hope I'll see if I will manage to research level 1 spell or not.
Okay.
So, yeah.
You also got a one level 2 spell if you want.
Yeah, but I would. It's really improbable. I would manage to research it in the week. So
Never know.
And while you're doing that, Mike, what would Roll Good be doing during this downtime? What kind of things and activities would he be interested in doing?
Yeah, Broglood wanted to actually try to go to the blacksmith and see if he might have some throwing axes. Because I wanted to get something different that I might be able to use in situations that
Okay.
I might need an axe.
Absolutely. He definitely has a variety of axes. And he is more than willing to give you a fair price. And I'm going to say that that's 5 silver pieces. Let me just double check. Sorry, hold on.
Okay.
Yeah. Hand axes are, small weapons. So let me look that up. It's 10 silver pieces. He'll make you a deal.
Okay.
What's your charisma?
My charisma is 10.
I'll let you make a roll under. So if you roll significantly under 10, he might give you a better deal.
That's an 18.
Okay. So he's flat out 10 silver pieces per hand axe. Buy as many as you want.
Okay, I would like to have 2. Do we have enough money? I don't even remember how much money we have.
I don't know.
What did you want to do?
I personally only have 8 silver.
Well,
I don't know either how much I had. I don't have it written down.
Um,
Then I'll just take 1 if
okay.
I don't have that.
Okay.
well, I counted it down, and I have only for research on for 4 days on the spell, and I rolled that it would take me 14 days.
Okay.
So yeah, I'll probably start researching and
Okay.
a level 1 spell, and give me a second, I'll determine what I want to research.
Excellent. What is Terran doing?
Doesn't really have money to buy chain armor, so he's already got an extra weapon, so he's probably just drinking at the bar.
Okay. What is Arizen doing?
After I take my 2 days to heal, I search the town for anyone with knowledge of the gods.
In fact, there is a shrine within the castle walls that is used primarily by the Lee family. But you know, it's kind of not so much a shrine, kind of like a chapel, like a small chapel. And it has its own exterior door entrance. So you could go in and out of that, you know, without having to go into the castle. And there is a priest there who maintains the chapel and conducts services twice a week.
Excellent. I'd like to have a conversation with this priest.
Okay. He's a quiet older man, but he's very welcoming, and he greets you and, you know, asks what he can do to help.
Good day, priest. I am seeking knowledge of a god Isis. Are you familiar with this god?
Inus is the god of the air and the sky.
Yes, that is the one I speak of.
Yes.
I have a companion, and he is taken ill, and that is his god who he prays to.
Oh, well, we can say prayers on his behalf. If you would like to join me, we will light a prayer candle and pray to his God. And
Yes, I would like that very much.
he motions you over to this area kind of by the altar, and he solemnly takes a candle and he lights it off of another larger candle, and he begins praying, and he says, and what is the name of your friend?
Igar.
Yeah, Yes, and then he begins conducting this prayer. Most holy and elevated Ainos, grant your servant, your faithful servant Igar, a reprieve from the illness that has taken him. As his friends watch over him, grant them too compassion and patience, that they may arrive at a better time of his health. Grant your servant healing. We pray this and honor you. And he bows and sets the candle into the sand.
Is there a more direct method to reach the gods personally?
He says, well, through prayer and service, of course.
No, not the imaginary one in the sky. I want to see him. I want to talk to him face to face. Is it possible?
He says, my son, the gods are fickle. They do not reveal themselves to men unless they choose to do so.
How does one gain their favor? I do not know these gods, but I need their help.
Through acts of service, of course, and faith. True faith means believing above all that the power of the gods is divine and unquestioned. You must demonstrate your faith not once, but throughout your actions and your words. Your deeds must proclaim your faith continuously.
Well, I hope this god doesn't mind a little bloodshed.
I cannot say that sort of thing is commonly considered a appropriate sacrifice for a holy god such as Ainos. Now, when we speak of other gods, of course, there is the unknowable, and the unknowable is death, and death comes for all that live.
Some sooner than others.
Only appropriate to shed blood if one is sacrificing to the unknowable, which, as you can imagine, is blasphemous and punishable in many counties by hanging.
I have no fear of that. I kill lawfully, but some gods might frown upon that.
Yes, yes. Well, I will continue to pray for your friend Igar and hope that he regains his health.
I thank you, sir.
And he says, if you would like, you may return every day to make a prayer, and if you are have the means, you may donate to the chapel to help us keep up with the care of the chapel and the supplies for prayers and for services. There is a donation box right over there, and he gestures to a large wooden box with a big lock on it and a carved out hole in the top where you can drop coins.
Well met. Thank you, sir.
Freya, you have a little bit of time. You spent an awful lot of time resting and having your wounds tended to. You have a little bit of downtime. What do you do with your downtime?
Well, spending most of my healing days just in my room or sitting outside with Arthur, chit-chatting. And for the rest, I'm probably just hanging about with Arthur and working on my whip skills.
Okay.
And talking with Arthur about what we encountered in the church. Maybe he has some wisdom of the history of the church and what happened there. And
you get the general sense, and this would apply to all of you, that if you bring up the topic of the church, people close their mouths pretty quickly. Some people even excuse themselves and leave. So there's definitely something even in town of people kind of being very reluctant to talk about the church.
Okay. Even after explaining to Arthur that we managed to rid the Church of the Zombies and the lich that we found?
Yes.
Even still? Okay.
Your week goes by, relatively uneventfully. As you guys are staying at the inn, you're summoned by Magister Jones to come to the castle. Lord Trenton Lee would like to speak to you to see if you could do service for him.
Okay.
Okay.
So
Let's
you
see what's this about.
okay? So you guys head up to the castle. You walk up the hill. You're expected. So there's not a lot of dealing with guards or wait. You were brought into the Magister's office at first, and Magister Jones has a lot of materials out, a lot of research materials, some books, some maps, that sort of thing. And he welcomes you, and then he brings you across the hallway to the parlor. You go in, and Lord Trenton comes through, and he gestures for everyone to sit down. And he sits down across from you, and he says, "Gentlemen, I am in requirement of a task to be completed in a rather timely fashion. And I thought perhaps you, having knowledge and having been there already to the village of Oak Point, could be perhaps appointed to this task. I would be happy to compensate you for your time and travels. I have a missive which needs to be delivered urgently to the magistrate in Oak Point, who I believe you know already."
Okay.
Yeah.
Be an honor, my lord.
Due to the need for expediency in this matter, I will provide you with horses from my stable, though they are not part of the payment, and I do expect them to be returned upon your return. I will pay you an advance sum for your travels of half of the commission, and upon your return with my horses, I will pay you the other half.
Any news from that region?
So Oak Point is the village that you guys began your adventures in.
Yeah.
Right.
And you remember the magistrate is Magistrate Meyer. And so apparently this missive from Lord Trenton requires his attention quickly. So Lord Trenton looks at you and he says, "Are you able to leave immediately?"
Well,
Yes,
yeah.
we could.
Excellent. I will have Magister Jones handle your initial deposit payment, as well as provide you with the missive. It is extremely important, gentlemen, that this missive go only to Magistrate Meyer, and as quickly as possible. Any delays could be significantly problematic.
we will do our best.
Once you deliver the missive, you should instruct Magistrate Meyer to respond immediately and return with his missive to me, also with the utmost of haste.
We can do that, my lord.
Excellent. I'm appreciative of your services. Now then, if you'll excuse me, Magister Jones will handle the affairs. And he stands. Magister Jones stands, everyone bows, and then Lord Trenton walks out of the parlor. Magister Jones goes back to his office, and he unlocks a cabinet and opens it up, and he pulls out a scroll, and that scroll has the wax seal of Castle Lee, and he hands it to you. So who is taking the scroll?
I'll probably put it in scroll holder.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, so Gizmo has the scroll. He puts it into his scroll case. And then Magister Jones says, "Gentlemen, please follow me. I will take you out to the stables and make the arrangements for you." He walks out to the stables with you guys. He summons the stable master, and the guy nods as if he knew that this was in preparation. They have 4 horses. 5 horses. And the horses have saddles. They have saddlebags with some feed as well. So you have food for the horses and blankets as well. So you guys get the horses, and as you are mounting the horses, Magister Jones comes around to each one of you with a pouch of coins. So each one of you get 15 silver pieces in a pouch. So mark that down somewhere.
Before we leave, I make sure that I have Igar's talisman that he wears around his neck with me.
Okay, you have his holy symbol.
Probably stopping by the inn, getting our stuff.
Okay, so you guys now ride down to the inn. You tie up your horses on the posts outside of the inn. You go into the inn, you clear out, you get your stuff. And as you are clearing out and getting your stuff, what are you doing with Igar's armor and sword and bow and arrows? Are you bringing that with, or are you asking the innkeeper to keep it there and leaving a deposit?
Could do that. That'd be easier than carrying it.
Okay.
Absolutely.
How much does he need?
He has storage stalls. He says, well, if you'll be back within the week, how about just 2 silver?
I'll throw it down.
Okay. All right.
I have one other question. Should we check on Igar before we leave to see if there's any change?
Yeah. That's up to you guys. Do you guys want to?
Yeah, I'm asking.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would check.
Yes, now that we're on horseback, I'd like to say a word to him before we depart.
Okay. Let's go check on him.
Okay. Ride back up north, which takes no time at all because you're on horseback and you're going up the path. You get into the hamlet. You see people kind of milling about, doing their normal things. You guys ride over to the church. You kind of tie up your horses. You hop over the fence. You go around to the back door. You open it. You go down the stairs, and you could hear like shuffling inside. You unbar the door. You open up the door, and as you do, you see Igar across the storage room, kind of slowly turn, and he looks, a little more dead now because it's been a week. So he kind of like turns and like starts like shuffling towards the door, and
We'll do something about this, my friend.
he goes.
And I'll lock it back up.
Right. So you
I
close
hold
the
his-
door up.
Oh, I hold his talisman up, and I hold it, and I say, I'm in search of your god, Igar, and I will find him, and we will fix you.
Interesting. For ever so brief of a moment, like you see Igar kind of stop when you hold up the symbol and you're talking. He kind of stops lurching towards you, and he like looks curiously at it, almost like a dog looking at a treat, like. And then like he starts lurching towards you guys and like raising his arms up, and then you close the door. So you guys close everything back up, and you have everything that you need, all of your travel supplies, and you begin making your way south. And you're making great time. You get to, through the lands, through Lee County, the open lands. You pass a few farms along the way, and then you kind of see up ahead where the great forest kind of begins to be, in the distance. You ride towards that, and eventually you get to the point where you see that opening that kind of goes into the path through the great forest. And you travel through that path for a while. Your first day of travel is pretty uneventful. And you guys get to a point where it's nighttime. So if you want to travel on the path, because of the the density of the forest and the canopy, very little light, even from the moon, can get through. So it's pretty much like pitch black. So if you guys want to travel through the night, you will have to have torches, and your pace will be a little bit slower. Or you can like stop and make camp. It's up to you.
How are we doing on time? Are we making good time, you say? Maybe we should camp.
Yeah.
Think we would make it one more day of travel?
You can't. You feel like you could definitely, without any issues along the way, could probably get to through the forest and get back to Oak Point tomorrow.
Yeah, I think it was about a day and a half walk.
Right.
Because we only had a one night rest when we walked in.
Right.
Yeah.
You should be really close to the city, I suppose. So I would say just go all night.
You passed the bridge already. Like you
Right.
you passed the bridge through the forest. You're very far along. So do you want to camp, or do you want to ride?
If we're that close, we might as well continue.
Let's press
I
on.
think we
Yeah.
should continue.
How's
Okay.
horses doing?
What was that, Gizmo?
How are horses doing?
I mean, the horses have been riding all day, but not like at a full gallop. So, but you feel like you could probably ride a couple more hours, maybe till like midnight, and then camp until dawn, and then ride and arrive in by mid-afternoon.
Yeah.
I would say let's do that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sounds like a solid plan.
So you're
I'll
right,
go look for.
and you're just at a slow trot because you guys have torches, so you don't have a lot of visibility, but you're kind of riding through the path at night. You hear the sounds, the normal sounds that you would hear in the forest, night birds and that kind of thing, and crickets chirping, and it's cooled down quite a bit at night. Like there's a slight fog, from the dampness of the mulch and stuff in the forest. And as you're riding along, you notice Good and Freya, you guys notice that there's like a little bit of a soft glow up ahead, but in the forest. So as you're going down the path, kind of like up ahead, but also like 30 feet into the forest, you see this like soft kind of green glow that looks like, maybe it's by a fallen log or a stone or something.
Yeah. I hold up my hand, signaling like if everyone to stop,
Okay.
and point towards the glow. And saying,
If I recall, the last time we saw a green glow, it was coming out of a zombie's head.
Yes, I
Yeah.
do recall that. Why don't our scouts go up ahead with their shiftiness and see if they can find something?
yeah.
Pull my sword out.
Okay. So if you're going to dismount your horses, that means people have to hold the reins of your horses.
Mm-hmm.
Are the trees nearby where we can tie them off?
Yes.
Well, if only the two of us are going in, it's better to hand over the reins instead of tying them down.
I'll hold one rein while I'm still mounted on my horse.
Okay.
Hold the other.
Okay.
And I have my lantern and my rapier out.
Okay. So,
I have my throwing axe.
all right, Taryn and Arizen and Gizmo are with the horses, and you guys are like on the road. You have torches. You're kind of being vigilant, looking around. Freya and Good, you guys dismount and kind of like get your weapons out, and you start kind of sneaking into the forest towards this glow.
Mm-hmm.
Let's go ahead and use that stealthiness and make a roll.
Okay, I have 4 out of 6 now. So,
Nice.
and what do I roll?
A 5.
It happens.
Happens every time.
I got a 3 against my 3, so.
Okay.
I'm good.
So Freya, you kind of start moving through, and you find these kind of drier patches of ground to kind of sneak up, and you're moving from tree to tree. Good, you're still relatively stealthy, but you're kind of taking a little bit more time. So you're about 10 feet behind Freya. And as both of you kind of creep from tree to tree, getting closer, without the benefit of torches, it's hard to see, but that green glow does not seem to be moving. It seems to be kind of at ground level. You could see just with a little bit of moonlight coming through the canopy that it does look like someone, like a person, like a body, like kind of sitting on the ground but leaning up against something, maybe against a tree trunk that's fallen. How much closer? So right now you're 20 feet away, and even at 20 feet, that's the most detail you can see. You just can't see a lot given the limited light and not having torches with you. So how close do you want to get?
Can I approach from the side of, if it's seeming to lean up against the tree, I want to try and approach from the side.
Yes.
And get within like 15 feet, and then slowly creep up to 10.
So you get to 15 feet from the side. You see this body person not making any sound, not moving, and you see that the green glow seems to be coming around its neck.
Okay. Does it seem like a living person or more zombie-ish?
Seems maybe more like a zombie.
Okay. It's probably already dead.
It's not moving. It's not making any noise. It's not like snoring, like, somebody who's sleeping.
Mm-hmm.
It's just still.
Yeah. I'll try and come closer and just out of precaution, just try and pierce his head with my rapier.
Okay. Go ahead and make a roll.
That would be in D20, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's a 1. Which I'm thinking with roll under is good.
Not in this case. So here's what happens. You poke at it, and instead of piercing its head, you kind of hit it, and it just falls. It like slumps to the ground. So now it's not leaning up against the log. It's just slumped on the ground. Roll good. You see Freya kind of flank this thing, and you go around to the side, and it's you see Freya kind of move up and poke this thing. What do you do?
I'm just gonna walk up and get right next to Freya and have a look at the zombie body.
Okay. You see the glow in its neck is kind of pulsing, like it gets a little bit brighter and then it goes dim, a little bit brighter, dim. But you don't see the body moving.
I want to check it for weapons.
Okay.
I want to look. I'm not going to touch it. I'm just going to look to see if there are any weapons around.
Okay. So here's what you see. You don't see any weapons, but it looks like this person might have been like a common traveler, because you see like they're wearing like kind of commoner clothes, and they have like a large sack that has like rope slung over their shoulder, and a pouch or a belt with like several pouches. And it looks like maybe they had like a bedroll and they were trying to sleep or something. The body looks like it's been dead for a while, for probably like a week.
So I want to turn to Freya and talk to her and ask her what does she think? You think we should get Gizmo over here to take a look at this, or you think we should just take care of this right now and get rid of this thing?
Roll initiative.
I knew it. I should have just killed it. I got a 3.
Oh wait, this is a D6, right? That's a 3.
Oh, a D6 or
No.
D20?
It's
D20.
D20 and
Initiative.
Oh. Well, if it was a D20, then I had a 1.
So then I got a total of 5.
All right, roll good.
I'm going to get my other D20.
As you're turning and talking with Freya, you see the thing like go like and it reaches its claw up to try to like grab your ankle.
He told you to try and stab it. All right.
So you're up, Roll Good.
Oh, I'm up. Okay, I want to try to hit. I'm just going to take my throwing axe. I'm sorry.
Yeah. See this thing trying to grasp at you, and you turn quickly, like out of the corner of your eye, you see it grasping at you, but you're able to act.
Yeah, I have my throwing axe, and add my dex to that too?
Yes.
Well, it's an 18.
That's a hit. Roll damage.
And 1 damage.
Okay.
Too dark. I didn't see anything.
Freya, you had your weapon out. You see this thing grasping towards Roll Good.
Yeah.
So you can thrust at it before it attacks. Go ahead.
Yep. That's a 20 dirty.
Okay, that's a hit. Roll damage.
And that's my rapier. That's a D8. Yes, there's an 8.
Nice. You see this thing and you kind of shove past Roll Good as he's whipping backwards with his axe. You kind of shove past him to the side and just stab this thing hard. It doesn't even get up off the ground. You see it's flopping, but it's like trying to rake at Roll Good's ankle, but it misses. Back to you, Roll Good.
Okay. That's 21.
That's a hit. Roll
But
damage.
I'm going to go for his neck with my axe.
Okay.
It's another 1.
You hit it, but you hit it more like in the shoulder. But it definitely carves into the meat. Freya, you're up.
That's
Freya, help me.
it's 12.
12 is a hit. Roll damage.
And another 8. That one.
You
I love this
stab it
D8.
firmly in its spinal column, and it stops flopping. You guys, back by the horses, it was quiet for a minute. And then all of a sudden you heard like ching, 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 and like something's happening. And at one point you heard Roll Good say like, Freya, help me. But you can't see because they don't have torches. You can't really see what's going on over there.
We start to move with the horses slowly towards the sound.
You can't.
Oh.
The forest can't, like the under brush is so thick that the horses can't go in there.
Dismount and tie my horse to a tree.
Okay, you're doing that. Taryn, what are you doing? Gizmo, what are you doing?
Trying to do the same thing. I'm trying to tie both horses because I've got 2 of them.
Okay. Gizmo muted.
You're muted.
I tie my remaining one horse and get with the group. I don't want to be alone around here.
Excellent. All right, it takes you guys a few rounds to do that. By the time you do that, the combat is over. So you run with your torches and you make your way through the underbrush, not trying to be stealthy, but now you have light, and you get to Freya and Roll Good. And what you see, it looks like a commoner man dressed in commoner clothes who maybe was like traveling. And his face is down in the mud and he's been stabbed and chopped in multiple places.
Is there still the source of the green glow?
No,
Or
the
no?
green glow has faded out completely.
Okay.
But you guys have torches now, so you could see clearly that it looks like this guy had been traveling. He has a large sack with food in it, a water skin. He's got a belt with several pouches. No weapons, but he does have like a blanket and a bedroll.
Check.
I would like to
back-
go through his pouches.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
You flip him over, I assume, to start going through his pouches.
Mhm.
Right.
It is at that point that you see, now with the light from the torches, you see something. You recognize this face.
Oh.
you recognize the person, or who this used to be. This is Roger, the courier from Oak Point, the
Yeah.
guy that you guys rescued. And
That was a waste of a rescue.
it looks like he has been dead for about a week. What's peculiar is that other than the injuries you just did to his zombie body, you don't see any injuries. In other words, you're not really sure what caused his death. You check his stuff, and you find a number of interesting things. First of all, I said he has food. So you find 4 days of rations, and they're still in good shape because they were dried rations. So you find 4 days of rations. You find 15 silver coins. You find a 50-foot length of rope, a bedroll, a water skin, and you find a scroll. And the scroll is unopened, and it has the seal of the village of Oak Point, of the Magister of Oak Point.
I take the scroll and hand it to Gizmo.
Okay. I'll just I take it and then want to check the back of his head if he has the same crescent back there,
Mm-hmm.
just to be sure.
You thoroughly check. He does not.
Guys, I think we might have problem when we arrive in the village.
Agreed.
Check the scroll.
Okay. Can I try to open it without breaking the seal?
Oh. Yes, you could. Now, let me think about this mechanically. Effectively, what you're doing is trying to loosen the wax seal on the paper without breaking the wax seal. I'm going to say that's a dexterity sort of thing. Is that something you want to make a roll for, Gizmo?
Warm up a knife over a flame.
Oh, my dexterity is pretty high, but I don't know if it's like...
Okay.
like-
So you can warm up a knife. You can kind of carefully try to wedge it under the seal and see if you could do that. So make a dex roll under. So tell me how low you go.
Okay, so this is 9, so it's 9 under,
That's great.
I think.
Do it.
Wow.
Yeah, roll. So like, you guys are kind of like roll goods going through the body. You're working with this scroll. Freya hands you like a knife that she held over the torch, and you kind of just skim it under there, and you loosen it, and you unroll the paper, and it looks like a very hastily scrawled message, signed by Magistrate Meyer, and it is addressed to Lord Trenton Lee. And it goes a little something like this. Lord Lee, many people have fallen sick near Oak Point and in the village itself. This strange illness does not seem to have any remedy. It takes hold, and within a matter of days, the afflicted pass on from a strong fever. More disturbingly, some of the afflicted who passed on have arisen again. Please send help. Sincerely, Magistrate Meyer.
Best regards.
So that's what you guys find. Sadly,
God.
the zombie body of Roger the Courier, a missive sent, who knows how long ago. By your best estimates, zombie Roger looked about as bad as zombie Igar. So you're guessing maybe he's been dead for a week, but you're not sure, like, if how long ago this missive was written. So
Should we try not to butcher all the zombies we find in case we can find a way to reverse this?
I'll try next time.
We're hacking up zombies that might have life left in them yet.
But here's the real question: do we go back to Lord Lee and tell him what's going on, or do we
We
carry
go
on?
check out the village first.
Can I ask?
We're too
what-
close to turn around now.
I mean, we're kind of halfway, honestly.
What
No,
would I
let's
go back.
about diseases? Like,
What
do
are we
you-
gonna do?
We can't
Yeah.
know the full extent of the disease and how far it's spread unless we go check it out for ourselves.
yeah, but like common ways to stop it. Would I know anything or not?
Yeah. You
Like-
you would know some of the common, I would say more like folklore occult things. You're not like a trained mediciner or like an apothecary, but you know some of the like household cures for basic things, for infections and for fevers and for coughs and stuff like that.
Would we have like any experience with standard plague, like cover your face or something
Yes.
like that? Or
You know about plagues. You know about plagues, and plagues really is a very general term to the entire continent. Anytime that a sickness befalls a group of people and spreads quickly, they call it a plague. So it's not just one kind of plague. But anything that sounds like what was described in this letter to Lord Trenton Lee, that's not something that you hear about all the time. Like this whole zombie thing is not something that is common. This is not something that you ever heard of before you guys started to experience it. So,
well, guys, I think we should take a nap far away from this body and then return tomorrow with the news because we don't want to get infected.
Yeah.
One
Right.
thing, I have one more point that we didn't think about. Why were we being sent back to the other village? We never asked why. We just blindly decided to go back.
We were
Oh,
sent. We were
you have a
sent with a message.
yeah.
But why?
Oh, well, yeah. You
Why
didn't-
not?
you didn't
That's
ask why.
that's between people that are above our pay grade.
Yes.
Hmm.
Unless we want to try the same trick with the knife and the fire, and open the other missive as well.
Gizmo?
Gizmo, you've got the lucky hand, my friend.
Well, let's give it a shot. I really want to know if the message is worthy or not.
Okay. Make
Yeah,
it
that
up.
would also make a good excuse.
Okay, that's 12 under.
12
Ooh,
Wow.
dang.
You're getting good at this. You slick that knife up again. You just and you successfully open it up without breaking the seal. You unroll this missive, and you're surprised because it's not any words. It's a map. It's a map. It's a hand-drawn map.
Oh,
Are there any details that we know of, or that we can?
What it looks like is kind of a regional map. So you see like Lee County and the castle and the town. You see the Great Forest. You see Oak Point. And then you see some hills southwest. Kind of like, looks like maybe miles past the farms that you guys saved.
mm-hmm.
And then in the hills, there's a little like black dot, like somebody made a black dot in the hills.
Guys, I don't know what this means. So,
Well, it seems to me that they were just trying to get rid of us.
You think Lord Lee knew about the sickness and sent us over here?
That could be. Because
Anything is possible.
what else would he? Why else would he have sent us away?
well, maybe he has correspondence with other magister, and they might have symbols, so nobody could read conversation between them.
But it's just a map.
Is the
Yeah.
dot the only mark on the map other than just the landscape?
Yes. It is literal. This little black circle dot in the area of hills southwest of Oak Point is the only mark other than the actual like map.
Do we know that mark on the map? Is that anywhere near the Santos house?
No.
No.
Santos house is east.
East?
Santos house is between Oak Point and the Great Forest,
Mhm.
east,
Okay,
like opposite direction.
gotcha.
Oh man.
This is tough.
Yeah.
I think I would not head tomorrow to the city directly, but I would try to go for the farm first. They seemed to be well armed and self-sustaining, so we might have more luck to find them okay. They also were far away, and they might know what's within the city.
Yeah, you
Okay.
mean the
Also,
one north of the city, north of Oak Point?
Yes, that would be the Kerr. The Kerr.
also,
The
Yeah.
Kerr farm.
also, if they are turned into zombies and the whole city is turned into the zombies, they would be much easier to get around.
Okay.
That sounds like a good idea.
So here's my question: Are you going back to the horses and riding through the rest of the night to get to the Kerr farm without resting, or are you going to try to find a place to stop and make a camp?
I think we should ride right now.
Yeah, agreed.
I
I
agree.
would like to ride through.
I'm not sure. If we find zombies and stuff and we don't want to kill them, we want to be able to use our horses at full gallop to get away. And they might not stand up to that kind of abuse at this time.
Yeah, I'll tell you this: your horses will
point.
trot. They'll trot, but they're not galloping. I mean, they're tired.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
you could trot through the forest, and by dawn you'd be out of the forest and pretty darn close to the Kerr farm.
But we couldn't move quickly if we needed to on the back end.
Correct.
They would need to be really, really scared to.
I agree with
Yeah.
Freya. We should rest the horses.
That's a good idea.
So you want to take like a short rest?
At
Yeah,
least,
until
at
dawn.
least till dawn.
Okay. So you guys, I'm assuming, move further up the road. Okay. There are no clearings. I mean, this path is carved through the woods, and the woods seem to encroach on the path. You know what I mean? Like the woods want to reclaim it.
Mm-hmm.
Do your best to find something that's slightly off the road. You manage to find a little bit of dry wood and kindling. You get a small fire going to keep warm. You let the horses rest. You take the saddles off. I'm assuming you guys are going to set up a watch while you're doing this.
Yeah, double
Yeah.
team.
Okay. First watch. Nothing significant. Second watch. Nothing. At dawn, you guys have each gotten a short, 3-4 hours of sleep, and you kind of roll out of your bedrolls, get the saddles back on the horses, give them a little bit of grain, let them feed, and you guys hit the road again. You start riding through at dawn. You make your way through the Great Forest and out of the Great Forest into the open land. You travel for a couple more hours, and by late morning, you arrive at the Kerr family farm, and you see it off the road, just as you saw it before. The only difference is you don't see anybody working the fields out and about. You don't see any of the livestock out in the yards. You also see that their main gate and fence posts look like they've been reinforced recently, and not like painstakingly and perfectly. Like it looks like they've slapped up a bunch of boards and even like tree limbs to kind of make like crisscrossed barricades around different points of the fence and the main gate.
Mm-hmm.
Right up to the.
Is there smoke coming from the house, the main
Nope.
house? No chimney smoke.
Oh yeah, there is. I'm sorry, there is chimney smoke.
side note before I continue. Every dawn and every dusk, I awkwardly pray to Igar's god, asking for help.
Okay. Duly noted.
And I will mention that prayer at a later moment.
So you guys see the house. There is chimney smoke.
I'll go up to the gate and I'll yell like, "Hail! Is there anybody there?"
Okay. So as you guys kind of turn off on the driveway, the path up to their farm, you see two zombies that are trapped in the barricades, just trying to like lurch forward.
Oh, yeah.
As you get closer, you see that these sharpened tree limbs are like poked through their chest.
Right.
So they're like impaled and just kind of like stuck.
Yeah.
And when you come, as you guys are coming up the road with the horses, the zombies kind of like hear you and they like turn around and they swish back at you, but they're not moving anywhere.
Alright.
Do we
Do they-
recognize them as any of the Kerr family?
No, these just look like other townsfolk.
Okay.
And they also look like they've been zombies for
Okay.
a week, maybe longer.
I'm gonna dismount my horse and hand it off to somebody and go.
I'll
pull
take
out
your
my
horse.
claymore. Yeah, I'll pull out my claymore and finish these zombies off.
Okay, easily. I mean,
I shout out, Kerr family, just to let them know that we're here, just in case there's any survivors.
okay. A couple moments later, you see the door to the family house open up, and you see a head peek out. Very light blonde hair, and then it peeks back in. And then a few moments later, you see a larger body come out, and you recognize it as Matthias Kerr. And you see he comes out, he's wearing boots and overalls, and he has a shield and a sword, and he kind of comes out and walks down the way, and then he sees you guys, and you see he kind of smiles, and he sheathes his sword, and he walks over towards the gate. Now he's about 15 feet away from you, and he looks up and he says, "My, oh my, it's good to see some people walking around here who ain't dead." And that is where we will end this episode of The Thank you as always for watching. Join us next week to find out what happened to the town of Oak Point. Thank you. Peace out. Bye.
Hello, it's me, Wizzy. I'm back once again to remind you to subscribe and click on the notifications button, and also watch videos that are over there. And then don't forget to tune in to the next episode of whatever show you are just watching, and crafting videos and DM tips and pro tips for vlogging and all sorts of gaming things. And also you could watch Bill eat food and watch other shows featuring Bill. He made me say that because he's a narcissist. Okay, bye.